Well, has the time come? I don't know. Apparently, Kathleen Kennedy is going to retire this year in 2025. But I just got a hit on a new article, and this is from CNN. And they're not saying much. It says Star Wars chief is staying on at Disney despite a report that she's leaving, at least for now. All right, let's go through this, guys. A lot of mixed rumors here. We've been hearing this now that she's going to leave or get fired or retire or whatever for the last 5 years. She probably should have left before the Last Jedi, but rumors that Lucasfilm, a longtime president, may be leaving Disney, have swirled for quite some time. But reports that Kathleen Kennedy will retire at the end of her contract may be jumping the gun. Now, Puck, they're not really known as, hitting all of their takes to 100% here, especially at Star Wars. But they reported early Tuesday morning that Kennedy, who is now 72 years old, is expected to step down as president of the storied production company behind the Star Wars franchise before the end of 2025. Several news publishers have followed with their own reports, but a source familiar with the matter tells CNN that that is not the case, emphasizing that there's nothing there right now.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Any announcement of Kennedy's retirement, if indeed there's anything to announce, will be made public when actual decisions are made, the source told CNN. Lucasfilm did not respond to a request for comment. Shocking information there.
Because it's all too shocking.
And a spokesperson for Disney did not comment for this story. Again, not shocking information there. Just goes on and talks about how she joined Lucasfilm in 2012. She was a co-chair alongside George Lucas before being named the president. We know the track record, right? Force Awakens, I think, did a pretty good job bringing us back to Star Wars. Although it was familiar, I still think that overall most people did enjoy it. It did make $936 million at the box office. But then it does say right here, it was followed up by The Last Jedi that made over $300 million less.
That's not how the Force works.
Than The Force Awakens. And then The Rise of Skywalker was actually about $100 million lower than that. So, Force Awakens made almost the same as those last two. Rogue One was good. Rogue One grabbed $532 million, which was not too shabby considering that it was a standalone type film. And we didn't really know any of the characters, but I know they added Vader in there. We got a little Tarkin in there, but more or less it was a kind of a standalone story. So I thought that was pretty good for that film. And then we know that Solo, in the long run ended up losing money, but I do believe that was because of coming off the device of The Last Jedi just a few months later. The article then continues still. As Star Wars movies saw diminishing returns on the silver screen, Lucasfilm pivoted to focusing on streaming, debuting its first season of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus in November of 2019, just as Disney's streaming platform launched. Since then, Lucasfilm has put out 5 other live-action shows, including 2 more Mandalorian seasons, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka.
This is where the fun begins.
While not all Lucasfilm series have achieved acclaim, The Acolyte was canceled in August after just 1 season and mixed reviews.
The power of
The company recently released a trailer for the much-anticipated second season of Andor, which is set to premiere on Disney Plus on April 22nd. And finally, he goes on to tell us a little bit about how the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be coming out next year. You know, obviously, we know what happened with the Acolyte. You know, Skeleton Crew, I feel like, suffered the same way that Solo did, you know, because the Acolyte was completely awful, just terrible. Worst, probably the worst Star Wars we've gotten, actually. And that's saying something considering how much I absolutely hate The Last Jedi. But you know, it's probably suffered because that was done so poorly. And the Skeleton Crew actually was a fun show. So we'll see what happens with season 2. If you have not watched Skeleton Crew yet, I would highly urge you to watch it because I do think that most people who like the OG films will find enjoyment in that series. And I think that there's enough cool things that happen as far as character development too. A bunch of questions that have been raised. You know, I hope they do continue the story because I would love to know where it goes. But, you know, guys, overall, you know, this is, we'll see what happens with all this. You know, I hope she leaves. I want her to leave.
Good day, sir.
The real question is, who's going to take over? John, Dave? You know, Bryce Dallas Howard actually would be an interesting candidate there as well. You know, and that kind of leads me to the final question of this video. And really the reason why I wanted to make this. Who do you think actually ruined Star Wars? Do you put more blame on Kathleen Kennedy? Do you put more blame on Rian Johnson? Because honestly, between the two of them, sometimes it's hard. Now, Kathleen Kennedy had final say and probably could have nixed some of the things that Rian Johnson wanted to do. So, I mean, I still have to go with Kathleen Kennedy as much as I think Rian Johnson had his hand in all this because he wanted to make his own story and not care about anything that came previously. So, you know, and again, in my thoughts, Kathleen Kennedy is the one who needs to go, and we need to get someone in there who cares enough about Star Wars to actually try to bring it back. You know, there's plenty of fans out there. You know, they get all the videos on YouTube just talking about Star Wars all the time. You know, I always get new comments from new people who watch my channel alone, and I love the communication. I love the engagement because that is really what we miss, and that's what made Star Wars so much fun, you know, back in the 80s, and just them developing legends and coming up with the Thrawn novels from Timothy Zahn, and you know, it's what we miss. And luckily we do have a platform where we can voice opinions, we can have a discussion. So I don't know. Let me know, guys, what you think about this down in the comments. Do you believe it? Will you believe it when you actually see it? How excited are you? Or do you think Kathy Kennedy has done a fine job? Let me know all that down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to keep those heads on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.